She had something bigger in mind. Judge Prescott wasn't just going to leave her alone. He was already behind the scenes, rallying support, trying to get the legal community to back his move. But Pam was a step ahead. "Lauren," Pam said, turning to her assistant, "I want to make a statement. I want the world to know exactly what happened today. We're going public with this." The media erupted. By the time Pam sat down for her coffee the next morning, news outlets were all over the story. Pam Bondi had stood her ground, and the world was watching. It wasn't just about one lawyer, one judge, and one cross anymore. This was about something bigger, something that would ripple through the entire legal system. The Florida bar issued a statement, trying to play it neutral, but Pam saw through it. It wasn't neutral at all. It was a warning, a signal that Prescott wasn't just angry, he was out for blood. Pam wasn't about to let that slide. Within hours, Lisa Reynolds, a national legal analyst, was on the phone with Pam. "I've got this," Lisa said. "We're running with it." And run with it they did. By the end of the day, the story was everywhere. From conservative outlets to legal commentators, everyone was weighing in. Then came the announcement Pam had been waiting for. The Florida Judicial Review Board would now look into Prescott's actions, thanks to the growing public outcry. This was no longer just a small courtroom battle. It was a full-blown public spectacle, and Pam was at the center of it. Judge Prescott was trying to save face, but it was too late. The damage was done. His reputation was in tatters, his credibility gone, and he couldn't erase that. But Pam wasn't done, not yet. The real victory came when the Judicial Review Board made their decision. Whether Prescott faced formal consequences or not, one thing was clear: he had lost. And every attorney in his courtroom knew it. Pam had fought for herself, yes. But more importantly, she had fought for something bigger. She had fought for the right to stand up for personal beliefs, for freedom, for justice. As Pam sat back in her chair, reflecting on the whirlwind of events, she knew one thing for certain. Sometimes it only takes one person standing their ground to change everything. And if you believe in standing up for your rights, you should make sure your voice is heard too. Don't let anyone, not even a judge, silence you. Your rights are worth fighting for. Thanks for watching. If you believe in standing up for what's right, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. Let's make sure everyone knows what it means to fight for justice. See you in the next one. It was a regular day at the courthouse in Tampa, Florida. The usual buzz of legal talk, the shuffle of papers, and the dull thud of gavel strikes. But no one could have predicted the storm that was about to unfold in courtroom 4. Pam Bondi, a seasoned attorney known for her sharp legal mind, was about to do something few would ever dare. As she walked in, all eyes shifted. It wasn't because of the case at hand or the gravity of the business dispute she was about to argue. It was because of something subtle, but powerful. Something she wasn't willing to back down on. A simple gold cross hung around her neck. Judge Prescott, a man notorious for his no-nonsense approach, wasn't focused on her case. No, his gaze was locked on her cross. And that's where things took a turn. "Miss Bondi," he said, voice sharp as a gavel strike. "Religious symbols have no place in my courtroom." The courtroom fell silent. The air grew heavy. Pam stood tall, unfazed. She knew this wasn't just about a necklace. This was about something much bigger. Something far more important. Without missing a beat, Pam responded coolly. "Your Honor, I'm wearing a cross. It's no different than a wedding ring or a locket with a family photo. It's personal. It doesn't disrupt these proceedings." But Judge Prescott wasn't having it. "Remove it," he ordered, "or face a fine." Pam didn't flinch. She stood her ground, arms folded over her briefcase. This wasn't about a fine. This was about a fundamental right. One that couldn't be silenced in a courtroom, not by a judge, not by anyone. "I'll be filing an objection," Pam said, her voice steady. "And I'd like to state my argument on the record." Judge Prescott's eyes narrowed. He was getting irritated, but this was far from over. "Miss Bondi, this hearing is about a business dispute, not personal grievances." Pam didn't back down. "I'm aware, Your Honor, but I'm also aware the First Amendment doesn't take a recess for personal opinions." That got his attention. The room grew tense. And Pam? She knew she had just made her move. She wasn't about to let him win. Not now, not ever. "Let's break this down legally," Pam continued. "You're fining me for wearing a cross, claiming it violates courtroom neutrality. But I'd like to know, on what legal precedent are you basing this?" Judge Prescott paused. His jaw tightened slightly. He didn't expect this challenge. "This courtroom operates under my authority, Miss Bondi." Pam nodded slowly. "It does, but that authority doesn't supersede the Constitution." She leaned forward, placing a paper in front of her. "Under the First Amendment, personal religious expression is protected, especially when it doesn't disrupt proceedings. Tell me, Your Honor, what case law supports your decision?" The room was dead silent. The judge's fingers hovered over his desk. He was cornered, and he knew it. Pam wasn't done. "Let's talk case law. Tinker versus Des Moines, 1969. That case ruled that individuals do not shed their constitutional rights when they enter a government institution, whether it's a school or a courtroom. Then there's West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett, 1943. The Supreme Court ruled that compelling individuals to remove or hide symbols of personal belief is a violation of their First Amendment rights." The judge's face turned a little pale. He knew those cases. Everyone in the legal world knew those cases. Pam smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Now, Your Honor, would you like me to keep going or reconsider that fine?" Judge Prescott's fingers tapped nervously on the armrest. He was trapped, and the whole room could see it. But his pride wouldn't let him concede just yet. "This is not a religious debate, Miss Bondi," he muttered, trying to regain control. Pam tilted her head. "Then why did you make it one?" A few gasps rippled through the courtroom. It was clear who had the upper hand now. The judge's face darkened. "I don't have time for theatrics," he snapped. "Neither do I, Your Honor," Pam said, without a hint of fear in her voice. "But what I do have is a firm understanding of constitutional law." The judge's jaw tightened, but he couldn't respond. Pam had just flipped the script, and she wasn't about to stop. Pam let the silence hang in the air for a long moment. "I'll stop when I receive a legal justification for this fine, because so far I haven't heard one." The tension in the room thickened. Finally, the judge looked at the clerk. "Mark the fine as pending review," he muttered. Pam didn't smirk. She didn't need to. She just let it sink in. She'd won the first round, but she wasn't done yet. The fallout was coming. The judge, embarrassed by his own overreach, wasn't about to let it go. Pam knew that. But what he didn't know was that Pam wasn't afraid of the fallout. Back in her office, the phone started to buzz. One call, then another. The media wanted to know what had happened. But Pam wasn't interested in headlines. Not yet.